Welcome to the 24th Annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival, based here in Nevada City and Grass Valley, California. I'm your host of the Wild and Scenic Media Lounge, Elisa Parker. Kim Ewing will be joining us tomorrow. And how excited are we? 24 years of this phenomenal festival. We're going to be with you all weekend. We're also excited to join you on KVMR 89.5 FM, where you can connect with all kinds of sages around the world. Our first guest, she's stepping in. She just arrived, actually, from the airport. We have people come from all over the world. And actually, Bern came from Vermont. Welcome, Bern.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
It's great to have you. So we're talking about the best day ever.
We are talking about the best day ever. A little movie made in Vermont that has been making the rounds, and we're just so excited to share it here in California.
So I loved your film, first of all, and we're gonna learn some words you might not have heard before, like adaptive trails, adaptive bikes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how it ties into this beautiful film?
100%. So a tiny trail club that I'm the president of, called Richmond Mountain Trails, developed what is the first fully adaptive mountain biking network in the world. We are a teeny nonprofit. We had no idea that we were actually what we were doing, kind of that it was something that had never been done before. We just knew there were people in our community who loved to ride bikes who couldn't, because the trails couldn't accommodate their bikes. So the board of Richmond Mountain Trails decided to go for it and see if we could just make a whole trail network that could accommodate adaptive bikes. The trails are not easy trails. They're blue, black, and double black, but they are bikes that if you have the skill and you ride a 3 or 4-wheeled bike or even a 2-wheel bike and you have any kind of physical disability, you can still ride those trails. They're also trails that are just fun for everyone.
One of the things that I love about this film too, Bern, is that what this is creating, adaptive bikes and this adaptive trail, it's creating this sense of freedom for people. And they talk about that frequently. In fact, Gretchen's here. We'll talk with her tomorrow about that freedom. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And I want to talk about some of the people featured in it too.
Yeah, freedom, I think, and independence, right? My friends who ride adaptive bikes, my friends who are in a wheelchair, who have disabilities, often talk about feeling like a burden. And, you know, the world is just not set up great for people who travel in a wheelchair instead of on their feet. And it was such a gift to be able to create this opportunity. And again, it's a gift to everyone, because what we discovered and what was actually the inspiration for this movie was that when everyone can recreate together, it just changes the dynamics between people. It literally levels the playing field and allows people to just relate as mountain bikers or as human beings, and not as someone who has a disability and someone who does not.
Right. And it is not an understatement when you talk about how these trails, I mean, it's ambitious, to say the least. I mean, I would certainly be afraid if I was on
the trails.
Yeah.
They're hard trails. They are not easy trails. And to be clear, these are not the first adaptive trails in the world. There are many adaptive trails. We are so fortunate in Vermont to have over 180 miles of adaptive trails. But this is a network where an adaptive rider could go with anybody, other adaptive riders, able-bodied riders, and ride any trail that they have the skill to ride.
That's phenomenal. And you're a bicyclist as well.
Yeah, I love mountain biking.
She loves mountain biking, even though it's been very cold in Vermont lately. Why is it so important right now, Bern, for everyone to see this film and know about this story?
I really hope this film changes culture. I believe that when people watch this film, or I guess what I have seen when people watch this film, is it just changes how we interact with each other. It changes how an able-bodied person looks at somebody with a disability. Hopefully it will help people see the person and not just the piece of equipment that they're sitting in. And I also think it's a time when a lot of us feel a little bit impotent in terms of what we can do in the world. And I hope what this film highlights for people is that if you just look locally, look in your community, like, you can make change. We can all make change.
We can all make change. What's one of the wildest things that happened to you that you experienced as part of this process?
One of the wildest things that happened to me. I mean, it was I made a movie. Like this.
You made a movie. Have you been a filmmaker before?
No, I've never made
All right,
a movie.
inaugural film.
I'm a journalist, and I did not expect to make a movie. But when I saw how the dynamics between people changed when everyone could recreate together, I just had this thought, like, I need to make a movie. And then I had to figure out how to make a movie. I had to learn how to be a producer. I had to learn how to be a director. I was incredibly, incredibly fortunate to convince Ben Knight that he should be my co-director. And so that's really a huge reason why this movie is so powerful. Ben is so amazing and talented, and that was really like a gift of a lifetime to be able to work with Ben.
Amazing. He's a Wild and Scenic Film Fest favorite. By the way, when is your film screening?
I believe it's screening on Saturday at 7:15 in the block of outdoor adventure films.
Okay, awesome. Let's give it up for Bern, everybody. And best day ever. We're already having our best day ever as we're broadcasting here.
Best day ever. Hope
Best
to see you
day
there.
Wild and Scenic Film Fest. Thanks so much, Bern. And so we're doing The Flash live on the green carpet. And coming up next, who do we have coming up next? Peyton. And we'll have Kim come up next. It's all right. We're moving and grooving. The festival just kicked off. So here we go. Hi, Kim. It's so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you too, Elisa.
Yeah. Okay. So we're here in Nevada City and Grass Valley. And one of the things I'm aware of is the wild world around us and what is actually edible. And you tap into that. So tell us about your film. Tell us the title, too.
It's called Forgotten Flavors, and it's featuring Pascal Baudard, who is a wild crafter. He's authored all these beautiful books on wild crafting cuisine and brewing, all based on the flavor of the land. And so I had been making recipes out of his books for years. And one day I was just like, this guy, we need a film about this guy. Like when I got so in touch with nature just through like all the wisdom that he brought to me. And so I cold called him one day and we went and shot it, and it's turned out to be like more than anything I could ever imagine. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful short film and capturing just the essence of really optimizing what's around us and also his nourishment, but he also goes a step beyond, like you said, around the flavors and the joy and how he crafts different things together. Like, what is one of the things?
Well,
one of your favorites?
One of my favorites are these unripe pickled walnuts that you basically don't let the husk get dry out. You get them when they're really little, and then you pickle them, and it takes like 6 months, but it is like umami, and it's a walnut, you know. So that all those things are. But the thing that I really appreciate about him is just he's so in touch with the land. You know, it's like we don't look around us and see what he sees. He sees all the gifts that Mother Nature is offering us, and it's just so. I'm hoping that it will tap into the spirit of all the people watching it, that our ancestors used to be just like this. Like, it's in our DNA, and we've just lost it. So I think seeing somebody like Pascal, who is so connected to it, it kind of revitalizes that primal spirit in us.
Where does this film take place?
It's in it's near Wrightwood, which is about an hour and a half east of LA.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. I know, just even seeing some of it, like mustard greens and all these different.
Yeah, because mustard greens are invasive. So he's like gathering that, and he makes a big feast at the end, and it's super inspiring. Yeah.
Kim, what is one thing that you want everyone to know about this film and how it can apply to our everyday lives?
I just think that if you could just spend a little bit of time outdoors and get connected to all the edible things around you, you'd be so surprised at what you can make, you know, just by going for a walk, you know. So I just think that if people could just discover that, it'd be so enlightening and eye-opening.
When is your film screening?
On Saturday and Sunday at the Dinner and a Movie.
Okay, and we're going to speak with you a little bit later in the Media Lounge, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's on Saturday.
On Saturday, we're going to have more extensive live streamed interviews as well. I asked Bern this, but what is one of the wildest things that happened for you in the process of creating and making this film and connecting with Pascal?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the discovery of like what's possible around us. Like, I just never even imagined that. But then when I worked with him, and then he showed us all these things that you can make, and you would never even imagine. Like my heart, it was wild. Like I became more wild through that whole process. Just more connected to the land.
I love that. Well, the film again is called Forgotten Flavors. It's broadcasting right here at the 24th annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival. Is this your first time here?
Yes, it's wonderful.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
You're in for an incredible weekend. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. And we are broadcasting live here at the Wild and Scenic Film Festival at the Media Lounge. And who do we have coming up next? I want to give a big shout out to our crew and our volunteers. Hi, guys. Hi. Elisa.
Ben.
Hey, Ben. Oh, is Ben and Rush?
Yeah, Rush. Ben and Rush.
Ben and Rush. Oh, they have 1,000 films here, by the way, at Wild and Scenic this year. Okay, so let's go. What are there, at least 3 or 4?
We have Snow Leopard Sisters, which is
amazing film,
a feature-length documentary set in Nepal. We have The Human Side of Plastic about Abby Barrows, a woman who's trying to combat the plastic crisis off an island of the coast of Maine. And Rush has a film that I helped a little bit on called Love on Ice.
Bath and Vacation, Love on Ice. Yeah.
Bath and Vacation. Did you have to go on site?
No, actually, they just gave me a ton of footage, and we're like, make this into a movie. So it's a lot of editing work, but I wasn't on site for that one. Nope.
Okay. So you know what? A lot of people come here and they want to know about the process of creating films. I mean, both of you are producers and directors and making this. What about these films drew you in, where you said, I have to be part of making this movie, and then I need to be part of Wild and Scenic?
I mean, that's the case. I feel like for me as a filmmaker, that's the best part, is I get to have that experience over and over and over. And so for us to have, so many films in the festival this year, each one of those was a unique version of that. The Snow Leopard film was a film that I worked on for 5 years before we started to roll cameras.
Did you travel out there?
Yeah, absolutely. We shot it with a very small crew. Rush was out there. We were together when we saw the Snow Leopard, and that was very much a life-changing journey for all of us. The film, The Human Side of Plastic, that was a story that we were looking for ways to highlight the plastic pollution crisis that didn't make people feel despondent, that inspired people to action. And Abby Barrows is sort of a well-known character in the adventures outdoor world, and as an advocate, a microplastics researcher who became an oyster farmer. And so I'd always wanted to tell her story, and the stars aligned for us to do that.
I think what's also unique in all of the films that are featured here that the two of you brought, it really does such a beautiful job of highlighting the personal story and the connection within that for us to care about it and to want to be involved and engaged, because some of them are really dire topics, like talking about the microplastics and the ocean and how that's affecting the lobster, would you call them fishermen,
Fishery,
right? Yeah. The Snow Leopard sister story and the story of the two women who are trying to preserve this predator who is so essential to that. I mean, what do you want to say about that and how important that is in amplifying our personal stories around this?
I mean, there's so much to say about it. I think from our side, we live in a time where there are great challenges, but with great challenges come great solutions. And I think for me, and I know Rush and I went through a lot of this together, is we've been so lucky to be able to participate in these processes, and especially for me to be able to participate in a process that was driven by so many strong women. And for us sort of as, from the cultures that we're documenting, it takes a special type of tact and a special awareness that we've been very lucky to work with people that are forgiving and allow us to document their stories in a way that feels true to them.
Right. And Rush, how do you build in the trust when you're coming into these rural communities? Is it in Nepal?
Snow Leopard Sisters is
right?
in Nepal, yeah.
So how do you build in trust with this community that's quite isolated? I mean, she walks miles and miles just to get to the community where the snow leopards are affecting their goat herds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to Ben's credit, Ben has spent the last 20 plus years in Nepal, so really that was kind of my conduit into this story. To be completely honest, I was just a cinematographer and a producer on it, but being invited to go and spend time in Nepal, in the remote western part of Nepal, in the out in the middle of nowhere, it was a beautiful experience, and also just the hospitality of cheering and her family, and just like the openness of this film and story. It was a life highlight, and such a special couple of trips I got to do over there.
You're cheering for everyone, the animals and the humans who are involved in this. Real quick, because we have a minute, what is one of the wildest things that's happened to you in the process of creating one of these 3 films?
There were 2 for me. One was seeing the snow leopard, but the other was also getting the results back of the water sampling that we did to see the amount of microplastics in the water.
Yeah, definitely seeing the snow leopard. That was we knew it was a long shot, but that was an emotional moment. Definitely some tears were shed when that happened. So yeah.
Well, Rush and Ben, thank you so much for being here and being part of Wild and Scenic. It's such a gift to have you both here and to have these incredible films featured here. We're going to speak with you later this weekend to get more extensive stories. When are the films screening? They're probably all over.
So tomorrow, I believe 1:00 is Baffin, and then 4:00 Snow Leopard Sisters, and then 6 is for Human Side of Plastic, and then Human Side of Plastic again on Sunday evening, I think, too.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Ben and Rush. All right, 3 amazing films coming up, and we'll see who we have coming up next year. I'm Elisa Parker, by the way. I've been part of this festival for at least 18 years. It's something extremely special for our community to bring everyone together, these environmental action heroes. Okay, hi. Who do we have next? Hi, I'm Elisa.
Hi, I'm Claire.
Hi, Claire. What is the film that you brought to us today?
Bears in Hot Tubs.
Oh, Bears in Hot Tubs in Los Angeles, in Altadena.
Yeah, it was in Monrovia where we shot the film.
Okay. All right. So give us a synopsis. By the way, Bears in Hot Tubs, I think, has been all over the Wild and Scenic promotions lately because it's so unusual, but maybe it's not, as we're encroaching more on our wildlife.
Yeah, so the thing about Bears in Hot Tubs is it's a film actually by Maddie Bear and one other, and I'm the one other. So Maddie Bear, she's my co-director, and all the decisions we made in the film are based on her. So her absences, her wants, her needs and desires changed the whole course of the film. So my filmmaking and my work is really about what it means to have more than human animals as co-creators of knowledge, and what happens when we learn about the individuals that we live alongside. So you hear a lot when it comes to human-wildlife conflicts that, they don't belong here and all this kind of stuff. But when you start to recognise the importance not only that they have in the ecosystem, but about their individual personalities and how they navigate our spaces, my whole film and all of my research is about what it means to co-thrive with life.
Co-thrive.
Yeah, co-thriving. So the tagline for the film is "Co-thriving begins with us."
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. And you know what, Claire, too, of watching so many of the films, that has been a very common theme this year of how do we co-thrive with some of the other species that we live with.
Yeah, so you often hear about coexistence. So coexistence is more about tolerance. You stay over there and I'll be over here. We'll try and get along, but I'm just going to ignore you. And co-thriving is what happens when you change your human behaviours in response to living alongside such amazing, well, in this case, large carnivores. And we can do it. We can co-thrive with wolves. We can co-thrive with bears. I can co-thrive with the coyotes in my neighbourhood. It just takes us to be mindful and paying attention. So one of the things that I also get a lot when I talk about bears and coyotes and wolves is, yeah, but I was here first, but, they need to move out of my way. And it's like, well, do they though? Like, if we just think about at the end of the day, we all want an easier life. And so for Brian and Rick in the film, it means, do they need to use the front door today or the back door? When they're not using the pool, Maddie can use the pool. So what we want to strive for is a population of carnivores, predators, that know what it means to live alongside us as humans, because we're all part of nature. And that's one of the things that we keep ignoring for our own egos and all of the things. So.
And Maddie, the bear that Claire's referring to, she swims in the pool.
She does. Maddie Bear is one of about 5 bears that frequently visit the property. So And the thing about Brian and Rick is they know who's walking towards the pool and up the drive by their mannerisms. So they know if it's Punky Bear, they know if it's Nappy Bear who likes to snooze for an hour in the pool. And Brian will be at work in a meeting and he will live stream Nappy Bear snoozing in the pool for the entire meeting. And he actually, has really built this relationship. But will that look the same for bears that live next to a different pool, that have kids and trampolines and dogs? It's going to look different. So what my film is about is, noticing the individuals that you live alongside. That's when you start to change your human behaviours in response. Because we can do it. We can do it with all of these big predators. And one of my my day job is with wolves. So I know it works across the rural-urban divide. We can do better. We just need to pay attention.
Do you have coyotes swimming in your pool now, Claire?
Oh, no, I don't have coyotes in my pool, but my film was inspired by the complete bedlam that it meant and to live alongside coyotes, because my dogs came from a completely different world. They came from the Caribbean, and so for us it was a big shock to the system to try and figure this out. And so when I did, it was about putting cameras around my home. Brian and Rick put cameras around their property, and we don't have to be there harassing and interfering with wildlife to really appreciate what it means to have them there. So looking through the lens of a camera, that's still an interaction, and it's still a deep appreciation. And my film, I'm quite impressed with myself that I got through the whole thing without crying, because Maddie goes through a lot of things.
She does go through
She
a lot.
does, and we need to recognise that just because they're resilient, it doesn't mean to say that they don't suffer. And this is how we start paying attention. And I deliberately didn't interview any of the parks and wildlife in my film, because the people living alongside Maddie, they know so much more about living with bears than you learn from a tick list of things to do. And it's about paying attention, because, again, they're all going to do something slightly differently, and it's those differences that you notice. If Maddie's behaving differently, you're going to see it because you know Maddie.
Right, all the personalities. Yeah. Claire, it's welcome to Wild and Scenic. It's great to have you here. Bears in Hot Tub and Hot Tubs. And when is it screening?
It's on Sunday in the 4 p.m. block. So yeah, come and learn more about co-thriving. It begins with us. So thank you.
I love that. All right, we'll give it up for Claire. Co-thriving. It is. A lot of the themes of the films focus on how do we co-thrive with each other. Hi, welcome to Wild and Scenic. I'm Elisa.
Elisa, it's good to meet you. I am so thrilled to be here because I've heard about Wild and Scenic from so many people who've had films in this festival, and they all say it rocks. It really has a great reputation, so I'm really thrilled to have my film in this festival.
We're thrilled to have you here. What is the film you brought to us?
So it's called Upstream Downriver, Uniting for Water Justice. It's an hour-long film that was expanded from a half-hour film that I did for the 50-year anniversary of the Clean Water Act. And it tells stories of communities around the country that have different water justice, water equity issues, and figuring out how to come together as a community and figure out solutions, how to change policy, how to really make a difference in their communities. And so it's part, bad news, because it's shocking how many communities still deal with really serious problems.
Percent of our water source
Yeah.
is polluted.
Yeah, probably.
I was shocked. That's what
probably going downhill quickly right now. Yeah, and you think about places. One of the stories is in the Navajo Nation with Dr. Crystal Turley Cordova, who's she's a principal hydrologist, and it's between 30 and 40% of people who live on the Navajo Nation do not have water infrastructure, water sanitation infrastructure in their homes. So they're driving miles to go fill up tubs of water and take them back for themselves, their livestock, their gardens. In this day and age. And then another story is in Alabama, and same thing, there's no sanitation infrastructure in Lowndes County in the poor communities. So people are living right next to huge open lagoons of open sewage.
And we've had, here, I'm going to bring you over here. Okay. We had a Catherine Flowers here several years ago, who's like now a Time Person of the Year. I mean, it really is, and you do such a beautiful job capturing this. I was mentioning earlier with Ben and Rush, the personal stories give us a reason to care and a solution to do for it, is what this film does as well. And and then you think we are in the 21st century, and the sewage, or people are walking to get their water, or don't even have water rights.
That's exactly right. And the thing that I think we don't realize sometimes is that water is a finite resource. I mean, the last statistics that National Geographic was putting out there is 2.5% of the world's water is fresh water. That's it. That's it. So when we think about that, we think about groundwater disappearing, and all these data centers coming up, and other things that makes us much more conscious about how we use our water, both on a micro scale, but also big scale. And how can we be more innovative about agriculture, about use of water, and how can we change policies so it's more equitable?
100%. How has creating this film, how has it changed how you live your life? And what are, or maybe one of the wildest things that happened for you in the process of creating this? We are at Wild and Scenic.
So you have to ask that, right? It's made me, I thought I already was very conscious about water because I grew up in the Bay Area with a mother who was very much a water warrior and spent a lot of time in the Sierras, seen the Lake Tahoe level go down and up, and Truckee River practically dry.
We see it firsthand
Right,
here.
firsthand. So, but I learned so much more about other challenges that other communities are facing that I knew nothing about, like the Lowndes County, Alabama, with Catherine Coleman Flowers. I mean, that just was shocking to me. And that 2.2 million people in this country don't have sanitation infrastructure, not just in the rural communities. Most wild are all the wild women I'm meeting.
All the wild women. By the way, real quick, we're going to talk more about the wild women, but I just want to do an acknowledgement real quick. We're broadcasting this on KVMR, and I want to thank all the listeners who've joined us. Come and join us at the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. I'm Elisa Parker, and it's been such a pleasure connecting with you. And come and join us at the Wild and Scenic Media Lounge at the Nevada City Winery, KVMR 89.5. All right, we're back. I'm Elisa Parker. We're broadcasting from the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. 24 years of this incredible festival based here in the Sierra, in Nevada City and Grass Valley, California. We think about our backyard and what is our relationship to our food and where does our food come from? Well, we're learning that it can actually be closer than you think. And with me, I have Margaret and Janavi. The film is called From Soil to Soul, Food Justice in LA. Welcome to Wild and Scenic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We were having a little back talk before we were off camera. Let's talk real quick about give us a quick synopsis of the film, and then I just want to hear about, too, like, for both of you, why it was so important for you to create this and feature this topic right now.
Yeah, so From Soil to Soul, Food Justice in LA. This is our pilot episode, but From Soil to Soul is actually a documentary series, all highlighting voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color voices in the food system. And the Food Justice in LA episode specifically talks about the food justice leaders in LA. So from Indigenous voices to Black farmers, really championing the local urban food system in LA.
And for us, From Soil to Soul overall is a movement to help people reconnect through their indigenous roots through action-oriented storytelling, and also to establish collective healing through the medium of food. So,
give us an example of that in the story. And also, one of the things I love about the movie too is that you do highlight the indigenous garden, would we call it an indigenous garden in Compton?
yeah, so one of the things from the film will say, Dr. Ross, how he had traveled over the world and he identified the vacant land, which was, the vacant plot which was lying over. He talked to the city officials, he created a group of volunteers, and within 2 weeks, that vacant land became a community garden. And in pandemic, it served more than 200 families, right, for food. And with his experiment, he's seeing how the youth who come there to learn and to garden and they've built a community, the sense of loneliness or depression has been reduced when he sees, young people connecting with soil, connecting with each other, and it's just there, without any agenda. You are just there sharing food, learning about different cultures and varieties of food which you haven't had been in touch before. We have Talia, who talks about her journey of health. And, with the current system where we want everything in jiffy, instant. And the importance to pause. Reflect.
To what?
To pause.
To pause. 100%.
to pause, to reflect, to see challenges as a way of developing more resilience rather than to have everything just easy and not knowing what's at the root of it. So,
Right. And it's and in some of these communities, they often don't have access to grocery stores that would have healthy food and options like that. And so when you talk about even fast food living, that's often what it becomes. And in our fast pace, it is so important to understand the process of the development of life and growth. And like you mentioned, the cultural community that is connected through this.
I also in the film you can hear Dr. Ross also sharing in the community garden. They also encourage other people to bring in the seeds of their own culture. So you also learn about, people who come in the community garden. You can also learn about their cultures, and you can all share like the food. So food is very much connected to, our family, our roots. So that's also part of what From Soil to Soul is about.
How has this changed how both of you live your lives now?
wow. So I grew up in a family where my forefathers were farmers, my parents are physicians, and I grew up as an engineer and then a sustainability design thinker, strategist. But then when we met in the Kuyama Valley and we were understanding the water issues local farmers were facing, and we are like, I personally thought like how disconnected I am from, even knowing where my food is coming from and coming from a family of farmers. And it was really triggering, seeing what is happening on ground and how the local farmers are facing their troubles. And then as our journey started, as in how we met people and learning about their story, their journey, their stories of courage and resilience. And that was a very moving experience. And now where I'm living in the rented house, I've started gardening. We have started collecting seeds and exchanging seeds with the urban, gardens around us. So, it's kind of brought in a lot of love.
Wow, it's been life-changing. And real quick, how about for you, Margaret?
Well, I grew up in Hong Kong, so it's very much a concrete jungle. But during the pandemic, I started also experimenting gardening with my niece. So you really see like kids having that, instinct is in their instinct that they would just get their hands in the soil. And I think for me the film like really opened our eyes to like also a lot of injustices, getting really deep into it, like on the ground, hearing about these stories. So how do we continue telling more of these stories?
Well, I'm so grateful, and we're grateful with Wild and Scene that you're here to tell these stories and your personal stories today. The film is From Soil to Soul, Food Justice in LA. So excited to have them both here. You're going to see them on the streets, and you're going to see them at their film here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, it's great to have you both here. All right, I'm Elisa Parker, and who do we have next? I have my daughter Peyton helping me out. Thank you so much. Peyton is joining us here. We have an incredible group of volunteers and Wild and Scenic crew. Hi, Elisa.
Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. Have we met before? Have you been to Wild and Scenic? Have you been here?
No,
this is your first time to Wild and Scenic.
It is my first time.
Well, welcome. Welcome to joining us. What is the film you're featuring?
So our film, it's a short documentary. It's labeled The Rewilders.
Oh, yes, The Rewilders.
Yeah, it's a 38-minute short documentary around, it tells the story of 4 pioneering conservationists across 3 continents who are reintroducing and rewilding species that were native to those given ecosystems, so across South America, North America, and Africa.
Right. It is such a beautiful film. I mentioned earlier there's a couple of films that are highlighting the importance of predators and carnivores and how essential they are to the biodiversity in our ecosystem. And this movie does such a beautiful job of capturing that. And again, the personal stories are tied into this too. Why was it so important for you right now, Kyle, to tell this story and also just to be part of Wild and Scenic this year?
Well, I think, when we talk about trends in conservation, I think that rewilding is one of the thematic things that keeps cropping up. Rewilding is becoming part of the zeitgeist, and we really wanted to bring rewilding to the forefront of cinema to introduce the concept of rewilding to a general audience, but then to also showcase the impact that rewilding can have in a given scenario, whether that's a terrestrial or aquatic ecosystem, or whether it's an urban or rural setting. We thought that by reintroducing predators to a given ecosystem, we could showcase how, in fact, an ecosystem flourishes and biodiversity flourishes. But then as well, we've got animals to include bison, the reintroduction of bison.
Yes.
On the American prairies. We have salmon in BC, and then we have the reintroduction of elephants to the Karoo Reserve, or to the Greater Karoo in Africa.
What is one of the wildest things you experienced in creating this film and telling these stories?
Well, we had several things happen to us. Being on the plains in Montana at minus 25, watching a bison was really fascinating, but we went from Montana to LA to have a conversation with Chris Tompkins, one of probably the largest conservationists on the planet. And as we were flying in, the Palisades were on fire.
Wow.
Which was somewhat telling. We all talk about climate change. And interestingly, rewilding is actually one of the tools in the toolkit to combat effectively climate change.
Yeah, it's true. And also just learning, for example, even the story about the bison. There used to be, millions?
Yeah, 30 to 40 million in the Great Plains of the U.S., yeah.
What are some of the results now since the film has been released and since because how long did it take you to create this?
Well, I thought it was going to be a 6-month experience.
You thought it was, right.
Yeah, the 6 months turned into approximately 3 years.
Wow, okay.
But time will tell as to what the definitive impact is. There's actually a science behind rewilding, and that's one of the things that is introduced in our movie. So you can see definitive impact by bringing back species that were native to an inherent ecosystem. And we do, in fact, go across some of that with our stories. But yeah, it's amazing what Tompkins Conservation has been able to do in South America across 15 million acres. It's amazing what American Prairie and Montana has been able to do in putting together a continuous or contiguous 500,000 acres of land and reintroducing bison back.
Right. It's quite phenomenal, actually, with the intent and the compassion of how quickly our wild world can recover. And I think that's one of the things, too, that this film highlights.
Yeah, I think, even if we just look at COVID and the 3 to 4 years that we as humans kind of halted or slowed our development, or at least our actions, and all of a sudden nature returned. Nature started to redirect how, in fact, biodiversity flourished. And we have some definitive examples, like the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone, and how, in fact, the entire ecosystem has shifted as a result of the reintroduction of an apex species.
Yes. It's incredible. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for being at Wild and Scenic. Your first time, hopefully not your last. The film is called Rewilding. It's
The Rewilders.
The Rewilders. I'm rewilding as we're speaking right now. The Rewilders. When is it screening?
It's screening 10 a.m. as part of a block at the Miners Foundry.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kyle. It's an amazing film. Cheers. I'm Elisa Parker. Thank you, Kyle. Everyone give it up for Kyle. We have a whole scene here. We're broadcasting from the Wild and Scenic Media Lounge, which is at the Nevada City Winery, right here in downtown Nevada City. Join us. Hi, I'm Elisa.
Katie.
Hey, Katie. Nice to meet you, too. It's my pleasure. You could do both. You could talk to them. You could talk to me. What is the film that you brought? Oh, I know.
Do you?
I think I do. Now I'm like, yes, I did. It was Sliding?
Yes, Sliding is
my
my film.
Wait, do I know? Well, especially because here we are in the Olympics, and I've been watching some of the crazy people on the luge and the bobsled. And what amazing timing to have your film Sliding come out. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, give them a quick synopsis.
Yeah, so sliding showcases a lesser-known sport called skeleton. It's a sledding sport, along with, you mentioned bobsled and luge, but it's a sledding sport where you sled down the hill on a sled on your stomach head first. And it doesn't get a lot of representation outside of the Olympics that are once every 4 years, so I wanted to help.
What is it that prompted you to do this right now?
Well, I have been a big fan of adventure film festivals for a long time, and I would see a lot of the same sports represented over and over, a lot of skiing, a lot of climbing films, a lot of mountain biking, and I was like, my sport is this wonderful outdoor sport, and it belongs in this space, but I never see it represented, and I wanted to change that.
It is so insane. It is so, describe to everybody the process. Like, what is the process to even get ready for that? Like, okay, and I love the film, by the way. It's a short film. You wake up, it's a new day, and you think most people would like, I'm going to go on a walk, or I'm going to have a cup, here, I'm going to take a swim. No, what do you call it? Skeleton?
Skeleton is
Skeleton.
sport. Yeah, sliding is
Your head, your face down.
Yeah,
Your face forward.
yeah, and yeah, the film kind of promotes thinking outside the box a little bit, not getting in line and doing what everyone else is doing, but kind of carving your own path.
And you're doing this.
I am, yes. I am in the film doing skeleton.
Okay. And how did you get involved in this?
In the film or in the sport?
In the sport.
In the sport, I saw it. I thought it looked fun. I like to do fun things, so I did it.
What is it like to do it for the first time, though? I keep thinking, what is that step when you commit to saying, because how fast are you going?
Well, in the film, I'm going probably around 80 miles an hour, around 130, 140 kilometers an hour. But the first time you do it, not dissimilar to skiing, you're going to start on the bunny hill. Okay. And so you're not going to be going nearly as fast, and you're not going to be covering as steep a terrain.
What do you love most about it? I love Katie acts like this is a normal thing to do, by the way. But it's beautiful, and we need women out there with courage, and
Well, I think a lot of us did this at a smaller level when we were younger. A lot of us have been.
Yeah, face down, 80 miles an hour, not a big deal, and you compete.
I did compete, yes. Yeah, I competed in the 2022 Winter Olympics in skeleton, yeah.
What do you want everyone to take away from this film and the experience about it and the messaging about it when they see this?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I think it's really encouraging, one, thinking outside the box, carving your own path, and also just getting outside. The film kind of pokes fun at the skiers that are waiting in line, but I think, if you're getting outside, do it in whatever way that works for you.
Yeah, I love it, Katie. Well, it's interesting. I had to do that. I separated Katie from the person doing that, and I'm like, wait, it's you. How amazing is she? How amazing is she? You're going to have to see the film Sliding. I love I love the whole process of it. And yeah, and congratulations, and thank you so much for making time to be here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Pleasure. All right, we'll give it up for Katie. We're going to see, are you going to do anything while you're here? We're going to have you slide.
I already just saw an amazing film, The American Southwest.
Yeah.
That was, I would recommend that to anyone.
Yeah.
And have a packed schedule.
She's got a packed schedule. Maybe we'll see her. We'll see her on the subs. All right. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining us. A pleasure to have you here. The film is called Sliding, again, at Wild and Scenic Film Festival. And coming up, hi, I'm Elisa.
Hi, Elisa. Gabriel Diamond.
Hi, Gabriel. Great to meet you, too. Have you been to Wild and Scenic before?
I have. I was here, I think, in 2018.
Oh, my gosh. Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. Totally different world.
We probably met.
Maybe we met, yeah. Maybe this exact deja vu.
It could be deja vu. All right, what is the film that you brought to us here at Wild and Scenic?
I have 4 films.
Just 4?
Just 4.
Ooh, is one Congress?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there's 4 films that I'm involved in, and it feels overwhelming to say all 4 of them, but I will just say
Go for it.
I went from being the person out in the field doing the filmmaking and doing the traveling and crouching down in the dirt, and incredible dream job, working with organizations and funders to help tell these stories about change makers on the ground around the world. And it dawned on me a few years ago, it shouldn't be just me getting these opportunities. The person who tells the story, the person behind the camera matters just as much, if not more, than the person in front of the camera. And so I helped to start a program that we are calling the Solution Storytelling Project, it's linking local filmmakers with these local leaders doing this change on the ground to collaborate and tell stories and make short documentaries.
Wow, that's amazing. What is the funding process?
I've got a very rare dream job. I work for the Skoll Foundation, SKOLL Foundation, based in DC and in San Francisco, and we're really invested in social entrepreneurs and then helping to tell their stories too, and how can narrative help to, because the stories we listen to shape our view of the world
And our culture.
And where we want to put our energy and what we want to support. And so helping to tell a really compelling story about the work of change makers can make a huge difference.
It is. It's the bridge. I mean, and having done this for so many years, it is a sense even of like medicine, where you have an opportunity for people to share their greatest truths and heart and soul, in addition to the solutions that you're capturing. Like the Congress, is it in Indonesia? Is that right? And bringing together thousands of people from the community, indigenous people?
Yeah, the Congress is about an event that happens, I believe, every couple of years.
Like 5 years?
Every 5 years in Indonesia, where it's the largest gathering of indigenous tribes in the entire Asia region, possibly in the world. Thousands of different tribes gathering to do this deliberative democracy process of what are the things important to our communities, how do we move forward, how do we collectively build power. And so the Congress it's just a verite documentary of a few days on the ground, seeing these people, hearing the way they communicate with each other, the way they share power, and the way they make decisions.
Right.
It's sort of like the people who are best positioned to protect the earth are the people who are living closest to it, and have done so for thousands of years. They know they should be the stewards, and so this is about giving them, taking that power back.
100%. Yeah, and as you mentioned too, I mean, it's something I didn't know about it, and I think it inspires all of us to look at how do we live, like that film in particular, how do we live within our community, and how do we convene, how do we make decisions, how do we support each other, and that film does such a beautiful job. And then the work that you're talking about that you're doing, it takes a lot of trust for the filmmakers on the ground to be with I call them the subjects, but the people who are most affected and the storytellers. So there's a big trust built within that.
Having that shared language, the shared culture makes all the difference. And I mean, I could walk down the street and feel like a visitor to somebody and make a film about them right here in my own state. But so we're always visitors as filmmakers. We're always asking something really vulnerable of someone else, of like, tell me your story, tell me your challenges, tell me your vision that might never come true, but that we want to support. So there's that feeling as a filmmaker. All the editing's done, and you sit back and you play it, and the person's like, there I am, that's me, you captured my essence.
Yes. And to see yourself within that.
Exactly.
Gabrielle, you're amazing. I'm so excited we get to talk to you a little bit further in the Media Lounge and hear more about your story.
Exactly.
And what inspires us. It's exciting.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I'll just say there's 4 films, Arubara in Indonesia about fishing, a fishing village, and them protecting their own water source, and so they can basically survive, and protecting the ocean. Mankalona, which is about an indigenous young filmmaker using storytelling to protect his environment. And then Soaking the Ground, which is one of these areas in the Brazilian rainforest that's been completely degraded, and where they're trying to figure out how to save water, and using this cool way to keep water in the ground so that they can live and grow their crops. So
survive and thrive.
Amazing stories that are such a good fit for this festival.
Well, thank you, Gabrielle, for being part of this. And let's give it up for Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Here at the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. Yes, 24 years. We're going to be here all weekend, and come and connect with us at the Media Lounge. We have our welcome ceremony coming up as well. We have the Miners Foundry. We're back at the Miners Foundry. Hi, I'm Elisa. How you doing? Good. It's like
Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Michael. I know, I'm all juggling all the hands. What film did you bring to us?
My film is Native to the Klamath.
Native to the Klamath. Ooh, I was just watching this last night. I mean, the Klamath River, removed 4 dams?
We removed 4 dams.
You come in this way. I won't bite.
Yeah, biggest river restoration projects in the history of the world. 4 main stem dams in the Klamath River, opening up over 350 miles of historic habitat back to salmon and steelhead. not only the biggest river restoration project, but arguably one of the biggest social justice projects connecting the Klamath River tribes with their salmon, something that they have fought for generations and won a couple historic court hearings within the Klamath Basin. And so, really a big win for the tribes as well as for the fish.
Who was the tribes that you're featuring? The Yurok? Is it?
My film mostly features Yurok tribal
Yurok
members,
tribe, okay.
and a little bit from the Karuk tribe.
Okay.
They're the lower Klamath River tribes. So the Yuroks are centered right around the mouth of the Klamath where it meets the Pacific Ocean. Right above them on the main stem of the Klamath is the Karuk tribe, and then adjacent to them is the Hoopa tribe on the Trinity River.
What was the process like in creating this film? I was just talking about building trust earlier. So what was that process like for you within all those 4 tribes?
It's a long process, and I really feel so honored to have been able to spend the time there in the basin and meet these people and gain their trust enough to allow me to help tell their story. I mean, it's such a priceless honor to have that opportunity to, and so in doing a film about the Klamath, I work for California Trout, and we've been involved with the dam removal for over 20 years.
Wow.
And so I've been working on it for about 15 years, getting to go up to the basin and do media surrounding it, all sorts of different media from different aspects of dam removal, and really promoting other work that we do in the basin, not just the dam removal. We do a lot of work adjacent to dam removal, restoration, and tributaries of the Klamath and stuff like that. And it took a lot of time to really get to know some of the tribal members. And so after the completion of the dam removal, of course, to me, that's a huge part of the story. And so I wanted the tribal members to be able to tell their story in their own words, not, narrated over them. And just like, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah.
Help
Be the conduit.
be the conduit for you to tell that story.
It's a beautiful film. I especially loved being able to see the progress and what happened once the dams were removed. And can you tell everyone too, real quick too, Michael, like how many salmon returned and how quickly they returned?
It was incredible. Literally within a week of pulling the coffer dam, which was the final piece of dirt that allowed volitional fish passage back in that upper basin, literally within a week of pulling that, we started getting our first salmon. CalTrout is leading the monitoring efforts post-dam removal, and so we actually have a sonar camera in the river that can track each fish that comes through, even with turbidity, even when the river's dark and muddy. We can see how many fish go through with a sonar beam, and so we got our first hit within a few days.
It's amazing.
And we just compiled all the data. That first year, we had over 9,000 salmon.
9,000 salmon that returned.
This year, we've had over 10,000 already, and we're still processing the data. It's a long process because someone has to watch every video and count all the fish that go through manually.
Counting them manually.
It was really cool, though, to see how quickly they populated that habitat above the dams, and to see them spawning in the tributaries already, places they hadn't been in 80, 100 years in some cases. And then we're already getting hits from salmon all the way up in Oregon, so they're making it through Klamath Lake and up into the Wood and the Williamson, and that's really what we were hoping for. And so it is pretty incredible to see how quickly. That's one cool thing about salmon restoration is kind of like the Field of Dreams fish. You give them the opportunity, and you build it, they will come. In this case, you unbuild it, they will use it.
Yeah. You built it and they came. Yeah. And here you go. Building the film. We're all coming. Here we are, Wild and Scenic. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. The film is called Native to the Klamath. It's one of the incredible films that's here this weekend. It's one of the best festivals around, one of the largest of its kind in the United States. Give it up, everybody, for Michael. Thank you so much. We're excited to see it. Thank you. All right. And who we have coming up next? By the way, the welcome ceremony is going to be happening. Come on up. The welcome ceremony is going to be happening at the Miners Foundry later. Hi, I'm Elisa.
Hi, I'm Elliot.
Hi, Elliot. Nice to meet you. And what is the film that you brought here?
Our film is called Lovebirds.
Oh, Lovebirds. Oh, I was watching Lovebirds last night.
Were you?
I was. I did.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. No, it's okay. I love Lovebirds. I mean, The hot thing, I mean, is it okay to say they were lesbian seagulls?
Yeah, it's about some lesbian seagulls. Yeah.
Okay. That's how I described it. How do you want to describe it?
Well, I mean, the scientists would probably say they are same-sex paired seagulls.
Okay.
Because we like to talk about lesbian being like a human thing, and when it's birds, we talk about same-sex pairing.
Yeah. So how did you end up finding this story? What were the reasons why you felt like, okay, now's the time? People need to know this story. And it takes place is it the Santa Barbara Islands or?
Yeah.
Am I right?
It's in the Channel Islands.
The Channel Islands.
Yeah, and Santa Barbara Island is the small island in the island chain. Well, I mean, the story has been out there for a little while. People from the 90s who were like in college in the 90s, like me, might remember the story from like the Beavis and Butthead movie. It was mentioned. But a colleague that I was working with, younger colleague, came to me and was like, do you know about the lesbian seagulls? And I was like, yeah. And they were like,
I do.
I do happen to, but turns out most people don't. So, they said, we need to do a film about the lesbian seagulls. I mean, as LGBTQ people in the kind of science and nature sector of filmmaking, we're pretty isolated. Like, there's not that many of us in this business, to be honest. So me and this person, Angel Morris, my co-director, producer, found a topic that we thought would speak to, something we were interested in, and to the other people in our community, our professional community, and then, of course, to the larger world, we hope.
Right. Well, in addition to that, there's the human story of this too, and the couple, and the discovery of this. And even, we talked about wild women earlier, right? And women who are discovering things don't always get the recognition for it.
This is definitely a theme of the film, yeah. I mean, in this era, in the 1970s, when this discovery was made by a couple, a straight couple, and really it was the woman in the couple who made the discovery. But because of the times being what they were, someone having a university post, there really was no systemic way for like a woman to take credit for that discovery. Right. So that's one theme of our film, and one sort of thing that we get into, and just the basic storyline of what happened around this discovery.
When is Lovebirds, when is it screening?
It's playing tomorrow at a block of wonderful shorts at 1 p.m.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Elliot.
My pleasure.
It's good to meet you. Everyone give it up for Elliot. Lovebirds, it's screening here at Wild and Scenic. There we go. I tell you, if we turn the camera around, you'd see there's so many. There we go. Everyone's live at the Wild and Scenic. Oh, watch out. Trouble has returned to. Brendan's saying get over this way. I know. Look, here we go. All right, crazy people. All right. They've been to Wild and Scenic before. Everyone introduce yourself.
My name's Jim Aikman. I'm the director of Snail Hunters.
I am the snail hunter.
Galapagos Islands. We're going to talk about that.
I'm Luke Harmon. I'm with the snail hunter.
Oh, I'm so excited you brought them with you,
There's
Jim.
a third one there, but there's not enough room up here.
Okay, snail hunters. One of the wonderful things about Wild and Scenic is showing how substantial every single living species is on our planet, and how significant they are, and what role they play. And I love how you brought in the story to this, these two here, and also just the importance of snails and what we can learn. So I'm not going to say any more. Tell us more about it.
Okay, well, I guess.
It's huge. It's a big
the documentary, I think, reveals or traces like the research that I do in the field in Galapagos on these little creatures that you might not think are important, right? Like especially in the Galapagos, where like species are really charismatic. You have the giant tortoises, the iguanas, and then you have the little snails. Yeah, and so they have their own story to tell, and I think they are capturing part of the tree of life that we don't usually think about.
Right.
And we have to share that Christine actually just flew in from Galapagos.
No way.
She arrived like an hour ago. where she has not slept. She was on a cruise ship in the Galapagos
A cruise ship in the Galapagos.
and just flew straight here.
Wow. And were you, I mean, we talked about lovebirds earlier on the last film, but these two, and that's part of the story as well. So you capture the essence of the relationship. I mean, so what were you looking for more snails in the Galapagos just recently?
Kind of like I was actually invited on a cruise to do more sort of like guiding and like enhance the experience of some travelers that enjoying as tourists.
And you didn't take them up the volcano.
Looking for snails, though.
Yeah,
You're always looking for yourself. This time you didn't take them up the volcanic rock.
No, I found them like on the trail actually, like while looking at tortoises. I'm like, oh, look, there's a snail right there.
How did you all connect with each other?
I met Brant first, who's the one who couldn't fit up here.
Brent, you should come over here. You could be, but there we go. Let's bring him on.
We can make this work.
And you mentioned snails being like this really interesting but unlikely sort of hero of a wildlife story, and this became this vessel for so many other bigger ideas, and just that juxtaposition of something so small and unlikely leading to all these huge ideas about the meaning of life and the universe was just really rich to play with in the film.
Right. And is it, I've watched so many films. So do you talk about the tree of life in this and how we're a leaf on the tree and
Good
how
memory.
everyone's, I know, I tell you, it's a lot. Yeah. So can you say a little more to that and also just what you're studying within the DNA? And you live in Idaho, right? You're both professors.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm a computational biologist, and so I study the tree of life and what it tells us about our own origins as humans, and then the kind of how life on Earth diversified over time. And I think that the film is really a key piece of art for me, because I think this idea that we're a leaf on the tree of life connected to all the other leaves is a really profound one. You have to kind of shift your time scale as a human to think about millions and billions of years. But if you do, the connections that you have to other species is the same as the connection you have with your own mother and grandmother. There's just more of those. And if you trace back enough of those mothers and grandmothers, you get to a shared mother and grandmother with a snail.
Right. I love that. Well said. And also, this film gives us insight to how we can all I guess you talk about how they coexist with each other and how they've been around for thousands and thousands of years. So how we continue to adapt. And I'm always thinking of, what does that mean to us as humans? Right? Are you always thinking of that? Like, what does this mean for us as a human species?
Well, we didn't really have that finish line when we started making the movie. That came up organically. I don't think that was necessarily baked into the research that they do. But as the storyteller, it was kind of always like, all right, but why are we studying
the reason to care?
Yes, and for us, it's that we can all learn to be better to each other by how snails behave. I mean, yeah.
Well, I love that, and I love that you are all here. I love that you just came in from the Galapagos. We'll connect it with you tomorrow or the next day, and we'll say, what time zone are you living in at that point? It's going to be fun, I could tell. It's great to have you back here at the festival, Jim, and welcome. This is the magic. This is all the magic of the festival and what we love about it. So enjoy. I'm assuming you haven't been here before?
First time.
First time?
So excited.
Well, welcome. It's inspiring. You're going to meet other incredible people. You already met Jim, so there you go. It's all good. All right. Okay. We'll give it up for them, everybody, and say, that's right, snail hunters, coming to you at a wild and scenic venue near you. And I think we have this might be our last interview. We have Kristen. Hi, Kristen. So good to see you again. Back at we're going to bring you over here. Back at Wild and Scenic. Now, you were here. Were you here with Invisible Mammal?
So, yeah, the story is that I originally wanted to make a feature-length documentary about bats, and because films are so difficult to make, especially feature films, especially independent documentary films, I kind of gave up on the idea of making a feature, and so I made a short. I said, I can make a short. So I just made a short, and then Wild and Scenic screened that short, and I think it was in 2017 or 2018. And it was kind of as a result of that film being loved at festivals that I was inspired to kind of dive back in and say, let's make this actually into the feature that I always wanted it to be. And the timing actually kind of worked out really well, because of festivals like this one, you meet other filmmakers, and so I met another filmmaker who was really interested in helping me make this a feature. And then the other thing that happened was that the disease that's been killing bats by the millions in North America was detected. The fungus was detected for the first time in California in 2019.
Wow.
So that was when I said, okay, it's time. So we launched, in the spring of 2019. We started raising money, and we got a little bit of money to fly to Texas, and then we filmed in Texas and Michigan and Texas again in 2019. And then what happened?
Pandemic.
The whole world shut
We
down.
became invisible.
And everybody blamed bats, so people were pointing the finger at bats because, there was like this link between COVID and bats. And so then there was this whole other aspect, to our film that we needed to address, which was, the connection between bats and coronavirus, and then infectious disease in general. So The Invisible Mammal it was going to be just a story about how bats were dying from a disease in North America, that was brought here, tracked in here by humans. And then it became kind of like this wider story about bats and infectious disease and public health, our health, environmental health, animal health, and why and how they're all connected.
It's amazing, Kristen. And you've been on a mission. I know we've been connected since I met you when you came here the first time, and spreading the message about the importance of bats and how vital they are to our ecosystem and just us as humans. Like how this has been such a big part of your life now. So how has this changed for you now? I mean, your coexistence with bats. I mean, it's like where are you at now with this?
Well,
what are your next steps?
I am the childless bat lady.
The childless bat lady.
And I have these t-shirts for sale if you come to my film tonight at 7:15. So yeah, I kind of have become the bat lady, and I'm traveling around with this film to festivals just like this one all over the country, the world. We world premiered in 2025 last year in May at Docklands, and now we're here. And, I'm so happy to come back to Nevada City and Wild and Scenic because it's like one of my favorite festivals. I come here as a filmmaker, as a volunteer, and as a spectator, just to participate. It's just one of my favorite places. And so back to bats, I think that what the film is doing is raising awareness about, how bats contribute to us, like our society. They're bug eaters, they're pollinators, they're seed dispersers, and also they hold this like link to, questions about immunity,
Right.
that if we study bats more, we might be able to unlock, keys to like finding about a cure to cancer, or other kinds of infection and other kinds of disease. So it's really important to kind of, open your eyes and they are, and they're also pretty cute.
And they're pretty cute. All right, Invisible Mammal. It's Invisible Mammal.
Yes, the Invisible Mammal.
Invisible Mammal. I mean, now I feel like I know because we're always seeing you on social, or at least I am. I'm like, what is Kristen up to now?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much I appreciate you for having the tenacity and the perseverance and the compassion around this and being able to make it happen. It's wonderful to have you back here.
Thank you.
And to
one
feature
other-
this.
Yeah, one other storyline I'd love to mention about the film is that I think I'm not the only bat lady. Our film is filled with, these amazing, strong female characters, female scientists, female bat rescuers, and a couple of them from the area here, Corky Quirk of NorCal Bats, who's in Davis, and then we're going to have a bat specialist here tonight as well, who lives in Loomis. So so there's bats all around us, and there's also these amazing bat ladies all around us.
Aw, thank you so much, Kristen. Amazing bat lady right here. You can catch her here in Nevada City. She's going to be joining us over the weekend. And what an honor. What an honor to have you back. And thank you for bringing Invisible Mammal back. It's a pleasure. All right. Very good. And we got one more. Thank you, Kristen. All right. We last but not least, hi. We met earlier, Elisa.
Parker Michael's voice. Hi.
Parker, what is the, here, Parker, we're going to have you come get closer. What is the film you're featuring?
I'm here with Catching Pine Cones.
Catching Pine Cones.
Yeah, I'm the cinematographer and editor.
What do you want to tell us about Catching Pine Cones and why it's so important that we all see this film at Wild and Scenic this year?
We made this film intending for audiences to enjoy it. And we think that it's a great film for everyone to see. It's got some really important messages, especially in our current landscape of like, do everything for social media and try to get famous, and why are you doing this? How many clicks are you getting? And the subjects of our film, we're just out there having a good time doing it for fun. And we think there's some real important lessons to take from living a life like that.
Right. Where did you join us from?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Wow. Is this your first time here?
First time at this festival, yeah. So far, so good. The snow was unexpected. I thought California
100%.
maybe, warm little trip, but it's going to be a good time.
I know. I lived here for 20 years and live in Brooklyn now, and we had the longest winter that we've had, and everyone was saying it was 70 degrees here, and maybe we brought the snow. I don't know.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what are some of the key takeaways? I mean, often you talked about being present and so forth. Often at Wild and Scenic, many of the films feature solutions and how we can make our lives better. So how does this film portray that, and what are some of the key takeaways you want people to know about this?
I mean, I think one of the things that really ties this film in with this festival is that Jan and Herb, the subjects of the film, they always felt kind of like misfits in society, and they really found meaning and personal gratification in nature. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to connect with, and I think that's something that in their legacy people have, followed in their footsteps to some of the things that they've done, checked out their climbing routes. The cave exploration that they've done is ongoing, so that's another place that people are still carrying on their legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
I asked some of our guests this, but what is maybe one of the wildest things that's happened for you as being part of this film?
I heard you asking that to other people. And
Did you think
I've been
about
thinking about it. And honestly, for me, what came to mind was when we were in South Dakota filming this, we retraced some of their most famous climbing routes, and we actually found some of their climbing registers that they had handwritten and left on the top of these pinnacles in the 40s. So it's just really incredible to think that not that many people have been to these places even since they've been there.
Wow. What do you want to say to everybody about, I know you just arrived, but what do you want to say about why they should come and join us at Wild and Scenic this weekend as we're wrapping up the media lounge here?
I mean, every film festival I've been to is just full of great people that are interested in stories and interested in other people, and I think that's the main reason I'm here, and I hope other people are here too.
Thanks so much. Catching Pine Cones. When is it screening?
Tomorrow, Saturday evening, 7 o'clock at the Foundry.
All right. Thanks so much. Woo! All right. I want to give huge gratitude and appreciation for our amazing crew, for the Circle team and Wild and Scenic, 24 years. It's phenomenal, really, that this film festival has been part of our community for so long. And it really is the everyday environmental action heroes that come here. We've met some of them today. I hope you come and join us and be part of this, because that's what it takes for all of us to be involved. Like, you are the solution. And these films really do provide a reason to care in addition to what we can do about that. Thanks to our volunteers as well. And join us. Kim Ewing's going to be joining me as a co-host as we go deeper in and connect with some of the filmmakers and people who are featured in the films over the weekend at the Media Lounge. I'm Elisa Parker, and I look forward to seeing you this weekend.